Alrighty, welcome everyone. This is the very first edition of Between Two Trees. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am Senior Airman Dimmery, your host for today's episode. Beside me, I have Staff Sergeant Murphy, our co-host, and our very special guest, Lieutenant Colonel Broderick Morris. Sir, thank you so much for joining us between these two very lovely trees.
Yeah, you couldn't find two ferns? What's the deal with that?
Sir, just gotta, play the sploof, Like, it's gotta be a little bit of a difference. We can't copyright over here.
Okay.
So, sir, you've served in the military for 15 years. Me, myself, I can't even really keep a plant alive for 5 days. So far, how have you survived this journey?
Survived? I don't know.
Survived.
I think lots of caffeine, probably, and some adrenaline. Yeah.
Sir, I feel that. I've been in for 4 years, and I'm already taking an energy drink a day. Whew. Could not imagine.
Okay, sir, as fast as possible. Favorite LRS section?
POL.
Oh.
Okay.
That's awkward.
Favorite part about being a commander?
POL.
Isn't there another, 3-letter job in the LRS? Hint, hint. 2 of them are here.
Soup.
Okay. Least favorite part about being a commander?
POL.
Hey, yo, what the freak?
Wasn't that your favorite part?
I don't know.
Oh. Makes sense. Alrighty, sir. Well, that concludes this episode of Between Two Trees, our Sploof edition. Thank you so much for coming. Your excellence during this podcast will be remarked on your next OPR. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
And remember, if it's good enough for Zach, the Galificalicus.
Galifianakis?
What is it again?
I don't know.
Oh.
Galificanicus. That's his name, right?
Close enough.
Okay. Then it's good enough for Kadena LRS.
All right, LRS team. Jokes aside, trees have been dismissed. I am your host for today's episode, Senior Airman Dimmery, and of course, beside me, Staff Sergeant Murphy as our co-host, and our very, very special guest, the 18 Logistics Readiness Squadron Commander, Lieutenant Colonel Broderick Morris. Sir, thank you so much again for attending this week's episode of Talk with the Top.
Yeah, absolutely. I've watched some of the interviews that you guys have done with our chiefs to this point. And so when you approached me about doing an episode, I was very excited. Super impressed at your guys' initiative to pull off a podcast like this. So, Sergeant Murphy, Airman Dimmery, kudos to you guys. I'm looking forward to watching this thing continue to grow. I think you got a good thing going. I'm just grateful to be a part of it.
Well, thank you, sir. Well, it's also a huge shout out to our initial founder of the Talk with the Top podcast, Master Sergeant Williams. He was the one that initially came out with it. So we want to also thank him huge because he was the starter of it for our very first episode.
Oh, that's cool. So the origin story, I guess.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's awesome.
Absolutely. So, sir, usually to start off the podcast, we always love to try to get to know our interviewee on a personal level versus just like us being a strictly professional. So,
sure.
Can you tell us a little bit about the start of everything? Normally we hear questions or answers like family or patrioticness, just things like that of why people join. What was your motivating factors to become an officer in the Air Force?
Yeah, kind of maybe a non-standard answer, but I'll throw intramural sports out there.
Oh, really?
And it sounds crazy, but when I kind of piece it all together, hopefully it makes sense. So I'm an Air Force brat. I'm not sure if you guys knew that or not about me, but son of a crew chief, maintenance chief that spent most of his career at Eglin. And as we kind of, traveled around the world, right, doing the Air Force brat thing, the fields of friendly strife that we talked about yesterday during the Combat Logistics Challenge.
Right.
Those intramural fields always were a second home as my dad was going out and, playing softball or playing basketball, etc. And it wasn't only the intramurals, right? It was the base team competitions too, and so he played a lot of softball. And there were officers that played on those base teams with him, and I found myself wanting to be like those guys that I saw that were out there competing, having fun, doing the social things, having the karaoke parties and stuff like that, where they were, letting their hair back and singing Shania Twain. And this was, like, mind you, this was the mid-'90s, so Shania Twain was a big deal then. But specifically, there was a guy, Ron Gray, who retired, a couple years ago as a colonel, but I wanted to be Ron Gray when I grew up. He was a security forces officer. I think he was a captain or a major at the time when we were at Lake and Heath. And I just thought he was the coolest guy in the world. And so when I started to ask questions and started to kind of develop, thoughts about what I wanted to be or what I wanted to do when I grew up, I was like, I want to be that guy. And so I talked to him a little bit. He told me that he played football at the Air Force Academy. And that, spurred further questions about, like, what is this Air Force Academy thing? Obviously, growing up around the military, like, you have some exposure to it. And I just loved what I saw. And so, when it came time to choose a school, I had narrowed it down to Alabama, which I also love. Roll Tide. And the Air Force Academy. And, after some deliberation and everything, I just liked the opportunities that the Air Force offered. I saw what it did for my family. I saw what it did for my dad. I understood the types of people that I'd have an opportunity to work with. And I love that. So went to the academy, 4 years there or whatever.
Right.
And, fast forward 15 years from there, and here we are today.
Circling back a little bit, you said Shania Twain. Do you have a favorite song?
By Shania Twain?
Yeah.
I mean, my go-to karaoke song with Shania Twain is Man, I Feel Like a Woman. I think that's an easy one. I don't know if I could name another song by Shania Twain, but yeah. For sure. I'm a Swiftie though now.
So.
No,
It's
not
okay.
the Swiftie.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
hey, there's going to be a karaoke at our upcoming Christmas party. You'll have to sing that song for us.
Nobody wants me to sing anything at that karaoke party. But
Oh, I think that would be fun.
yeah, cool.
Well, sir, thank you for that answer.
Sure.
I have another question for you. I know that during the 4 years that you're at the academy, there comes a point where you have to choose the career specialty that you want to go into. Since one of your biggest people that you looked up to, he was in the security forces, did you think about doing security forces, or were you dead set, we're going logistics?
So neither, actually.
Oh, okay.
Still didn't really know what I wanted to do while I was at the academy or even leaving there. But one of the cool things about the academy is you have an opportunity, as long as you're typically in the top half of your graduating class, to go to pilot training. And all my friends were doing it, and I felt like that was something that I might want to do.
Right.
And so initially I went to UPT at Columbus Air Force Base. So, had an opportunity to fly the T6 for a little bit. Started having migraines, weird enough, right, medical things or whatever, and got permanently deniffed. And then hit a reclass board. And so during that reclassification board is where I actually chose to be a logistician. And so as I was reviewing all the different career fields, love our maintainers, got some feedback from my dad there, love security forces, they protect the base. Got some feedback from some security forces officers that I know too. And did a lot of Googling. I didn't know many logisticians, but every time that I Googled Air Force Logistics Readiness Officer, it talked about supply chain, it talked about the importance of logistics. Again, 15 years ago, I think we talk about all that now, right? During COVID especially,
Absolutely.
the conversations about supply chain resiliency and logistics really came up. But then, the concepts were out there, but maybe not as widely understood. And so I rolled with it, was picked up, and, it's something that I've been grateful for ever since. Really love what I do.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So reading your bio, there's been many roles that you've had to wear that hat for in logistics. Is there an assignment that comes out to you that you look at as your most challenging for the role that you had at that time?
Most challenging. Yeah, I mean, every assignment that I've had, it's had its ups and downs. It's had its positives and negatives. Um, we could probably step through them, but I won't bore you guys with that. I'll tell you, probably the most maybe uncomfortable that I was initially going into a job was when I left Spangdahlem, where I was in a very traditional LRS. It was really all I knew as a young captain, and PCS'd to the Defense Logistics Agency aviation site that's in Richmond, Virginia.
Ooh, I've been there.
Have you?
Well,
Richmond or DLA Aviation?
Richmond, not DLA.
Yeah. DLA Aviation's cool. The installation is called the Defense Supply Center, Richmond, DSCR, and they have these elk that are there. That was like part of the contract for the state of Virginia to actually hand that land over to the government.
Wow.
Super interesting, but part of the contract was like, hey, you have to care for this herd of elk for all eternity in exchange for getting this land. But anyways,
wow.
I know, it's crazy. So I was there, and there are a bunch of senior civilians, GS-12s and GS-13s, that basically serve as DLA's face to the Air Force for each of our weapon systems, right? All of our aircraft, so F-16, F-15, etc. One of those senior civilians that had been there since the early 90s was the face of DLA to the Air Force for the B-2 bomber. And because he was retiring, they were like, well, we just got this captain that came in. Why don't we have him do like a little bit of turnover and then take Roy's job?
Right.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I have no idea what I'm getting into. My time in supply, even in the LRS, was super limited. Not even sure I could tell you at the time how a document number broke down.
Oh god.
It was crazy, but I learned fast, and figured it out. And in being challenged, right, and having my feet held to the fire to like figure it out quickly, it did, and I learned a lot from it. So a challenge initially that turned into an opportunity.
Absolutely.
Was really, really good.
Love that.
That's
So,
really cool.
and I feel like in the military we have that a lot. Like we don't have the experience with this thing, but it's like, well, you have this right now. You're in charge. So did you ever feel pressure like, I don't know if I can do this, or was there any like ever doubt that came into your mind like, oh, this is probably going to catch on fire really fast?
Yeah, I was thinking all those things, right? And then you fall back on the things that you've always fell back on, is what I found, right? So teamwork goes a long way.
Absolutely.
Figuring out who does know the answer and then going to them humbly and asking questions instead of just like, kind of sitting in isolation and trying to dwell on the problem yourself.
Absolutely.
That was something that I found that helped me kind of power through.
Absolutely.
And some long hours and just putting in the work to figure things out. That was important too. And I'd be probably amiss if I didn't talk about relationships a little bit at some point during our talk today.
Right.
But relationships with our customers, right? Not just letting it be an email, but picking up the phone and talking to the program manager on the Air Force side to make sure that I really understood what they were asking, so that I could in turn turn to our team within DLA, just solve the problem, right?
Absolutely.
We don't even have to talk about the specifics of the different problems and stuff, right?
Right.
Nobody wants to talk about the NSNs that we were chasing. Every part has a story,
Oh yes.
for sure. But like, relationships matter.
Absolutely.
It truly is a team sport, and knowing somebody's first name, I think, goes a long way.
So I agree with that too. That's one of the things my very first supervisor told me. You're not going to have all the answers, but know where to find the answer. So and that's something that I've stuck with ever since junior airman up to NCO so far. So for sure, absolutely,
that's good.
100%. It's all about who you know. I feel like anytime I've gone anywhere and I've made those connections, I'm like, oh, I can text this person and be like, can you help me with this? And it makes life so much easier, especially when you run into issues that you don't know the answer to.
Yep.
But awesome. So, sir, moving a little bit more towards your educational background, from what I read, your background was really awesome. I was looking at it, and it looks like you had 2 master's degrees, and then also you excelled really well in PME. my question is, what kept you motivated to keep your education up to that level? And then also, how has it helped you grow in being a commander to today?
Yeah, more good questions. Yeah, I found that, just staying curious and kind of trying to be a lifetime learner, as they say, is something that I've enjoyed personally. I love figuring things out. And I feel like through all of those degree programs, whichever ones they were, those were just more opportunities for me to challenge myself personally and grow. The reason that I have two is like a story within itself.
Oh, goodness.
I was working pretty hard on getting a degree from Alabama since I had opted, to go to the Air Force Academy, right? And all my friends make fun of me for being an Alabama fan, but not actually being an alumni.
Right.
And so I was determined to get at least a piece of paper that I could put on the wall that said like the University of Alabama.
That's awesome.
And I was about halfway through my operations management degree from Alabama when the Air Force was like, hey, we've got this sweet opportunity for you to go to AFIT online and get a logistics management degree. And I was like, I told my boss at the time, I was like, hey, sir, Colonel Multemeyer, shout out to Colonel Multemeyer if he ends up seeing this. But it's like, I don't know if I want to do this. Like, I'm halfway there. And he's like, well, if you want to tell your developmental team no, like, that's a risk. Do you want to take it? And I was like, fair point. Probably don't want to do that. So I just knocked out like both of them concurrently, which is a lot easier to do when you don't have two little boys running around or a wife, right? And it's just you. And so the timing was fortunate, I guess, that I was able to dig in deep. And that's what I did. So
that's awesome.
The PME thing, right? Like, I don't know. I look back on the relationships again that I made during those PME courses, more than any piece of paper earned or anything like that. Like the people that I've met going through SOS, which it's not just a bunch of logisticians there, right? It's people that are mixed up from every career field, a lot like the enlisted PMEs.
Right.
Those were just, more folks added to the Rolodex, more friends, like genuine friends that I made that I knew I could lean on if I needed advice. It's just fun too, to kind of maybe take a little bit of a break from your day job and go and get academic and maybe a little bit strategic and just be in a room with other thoughtful people. I think you learn a lot. Just being around people in that PME environment and drinking the blue Kool-Aid again. It's refreshing. It's recharging. We were talking about ALS before, we sat down, but there's nothing more re-energizing than going to an ALS graduation and seeing like, the graduate that's there that you're there honoring, that is like inspired in that moment. It's amazing. So I don't, PME just does that, I guess.
I could definitely see it. I mean, with just graduating from ALS, I learned so much, like, especially about crew chiefs, because I was with a bunch of crew chiefs and maintainers, and I learned a lot about their career field and just so much, like you said, drinking the blue Kool-Aid. Like, I learned so much more than I never thought I would have. Like, I thought ALS, you just go and you give speeches, but that was not it. It was so much more, and it was so rewarding, especially graduating and getting all the love and support. I mean, it was very rewarding, I would say.
If anybody's on the fence out there, the blue Kool-Aid tastes good. So don't be afraid of the blue Kool-Aid, all right? Like, it's good.
It is. A lot of people are, and I'm like, gosh, it's so refreshing because it also shows you why you joined. I mean, in the very beginning, a lot of people lose that. Like, whenever they've been in for a while, they get discouraged and they just lose the want. And it's like, if you go back to that and you get motivated again, I mean, it keeps you going. 'Cause 20 years is a long time to retire.
Yeah, you definitely need that too, because, especially like whenever, like in the enlisted side, you have your career field and you get used to that career field. So as soon as you get to see somebody like a crew chief or a maintainer, and it's like, oh, there's sometimes where I might not get to eat lunch. Like I just heated up my food and like now we got to go fix the plane. And I'm like, wow, for me, it definitely refocused me. And I was like, I don't have it bad at all. So like it helps you like keep that discipline to go in every single day and do your best. So because there is my dad has always told me this. It could always be worse. It could always be worse. So, yeah, absolutely. So, sir, I'm sure we have a lot of young officers and a lot of enlisted members who are going through what you've went through, trying to balance family, balance mission, and then also balance the academical side of degrees and everything, trying to obtain those. What did the balance look like for you with trying to balance all three of those things at the same time?
Like somebody way smarter than me in one of those PMEs, couldn't even tell you which one it was, talked about like kind of the myth of balance. And I remember them briefing it. I thought it was super interesting, but they talked about just kind of like surging at different times and making sure that you're present and you're where your feet are.
Right.
And so when it's time to be dad, like you're there and you're dad.
Right.
Whether it's for 1 hour that day or 30 minutes or 6 hours or whatever. Like when it's time to be dad, be dad. When it's time to be squadron commander, be squadron commander.
Right.
And then when you need to, right, like surge. Sometimes we exercise and we work 12-hour shifts for, a week or two straight. And that's okay. You're not going to find balance during those times. With your family, at least, right? You're going to weigh on the side of the Air Force, the mission, the things that, we have a calling to do. And there's other times, where we should probably challenge ourselves to leave work a little bit early or to make sure that you're at the recital or the practice or whatever it is, right? And you kind of maybe sway the balance and surge in the other direction.
Absolutely.
And that's what I've always done. And I found it to be helpful to think about it that way instead of trying to do all of the things all of the time to the exact same level, because you only have so much bandwidth, right?
Absolutely.
You run out of time and you run out of energy at some point.
Right.
So if you're just where your feet are and surge when it's time to surge, I think that's probably a good strategy.
There's some good advice for you. That's right. So going back to a little bit from your time with DLA.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you've learned in the management roles there that you still use today as the LRS Squadron Commander?
Yeah, so I mean, not in supply. Right. I'm not very good at chasing parts anymore, like I probably was then. I mean, they're at DLA. We were interacting directly with vendors and begging for, a week expedite at no additional cost to the government, right? Which you got to be careful to say, like you're not a contracting officer.
Right.
What did I learn during my time at DLA? I think I learned that, there's always one more person that you can call.
Right.
Oftentimes I found, especially in our business, that we rely on maybe what the ETIC is in the system or what the estimated, delivery date is, or what have you. Our DMS airmen that are embedded with the maintenance squadrons could probably tell you better than anybody. Like, there's a system and it says something, but if you call the person that's responsible for that input, or you call the vendor, or you call whoever the next person is, sometimes like at no cost to them, they're able to get you a part a little bit faster, which makes a difference to a training line, to a real world sortie, to readiness, to put it simply.
Right.
And we may lose sight of that, but like it matters. And so that was something that I learned during my time there. Miss Kim Perrette, she was in Wright Pat as like my counterpart, the program manager for the B2 at the time.
Okay.
And I remember I'd brief her status, right? We'd have these little teleconferences, and she'd always ask like, hey, well, like we really need this. Right. Who do I need to call? And as somebody that like wanted to get after it and to be relevant and productive and helpful to the overall mission, like I almost took offense to it. I was like, I should be calling that person. Right. Like, thank you for asking that question. Yes. I'm going to go dig a little bit deeper, try a little bit harder, because like I understand that it matters.
Right.
And so just understanding like there's always one more thing you can do to get the thing that you want.
Right.
I think is probably the most significant thing that I took away from that time.
Oh, that makes sense. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
I feel like I'm name dropping all kinds of people. So
I
I'm
I
gonna have
love
to
it.
tag some folks when we
I
finish
know.
this up.
Yeah,
You will
absolutely.
just send it to
Yeah,
them and be
yeah,
like, go watch this. Your
I
name's
know.
brought up.
Yeah.
That's
Fast
awesome.
forward to the 30-minute
know.
mark.
Yeah.
I know. Just
Right.
be like, fast forward to this question, then you'll hear your name.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, awesome, sir. So I know that you had deployed to Camp Arif John. I believe I say it correctly.
Yeah.
Back when you were a captain, and I know that for a lot of deployments, including myself, I went to Ali Al Salim in Kuwait, so I
Yeah.
know a little bit of that area and kind of the base that you went to. But I know for like deployments, it can be really big pivotal moments for people in their Air Force careers. Did you ever have anything happen during that deployment where you're like, wow, like that really changed how I saw things, especially being in the AOR?
Yeah, the biggest takeaway that I'd probably throw out there initially. So I was deployed as part of the director of operations for the DLA support team, representing all of DLA. And DLA does so much for the warfighter, like it's crazy. You don't even
Yes.
realize it, but you can literally go down all of the classes of supply, from uniforms to food to aircraft parts to vehicle parts,
Right.
etc. They are the go-to provider for all of that. And so the DLA support team wasn't in Camp Arif John just to chase aircraft parts. Like we were representing all of DLA.
Wow.
And so we spent more time talking about how to get fresh eggs in Erbil and why there were green bananas in the DFAC than we did, seriously. I mean, because those things matter, right?
Yeah,
they matter
100%.
to, the Army that's up in Erbil, in less than ideal situations that are eating UGRs, and they want fresh eggs from a local vendor, right? And they rely on DLA to get them that, because they're the warfighter, right? And we owe it to them. And so, getting a better understanding of all of the things that DLA provides is probably the biggest thing that I learned. And then the second thing, so our team was predominantly made up of civilians that had volunteered to deploy. And it was very unique having an opportunity to work with, a team of civilians in that environment. And I'll tell you, they were just as motivated and excited to be there and ready to help as any airman would be. And that was pretty inspirational. Like, I don't know if it necessarily opened my eyes or anything like that, but it was awesome to see that they're out there. So just getting a better understanding of, DLA in general was probably the biggest thing I took away.
That's awesome. Just sounded like a little different of a scope than what you're used to. I could see that. That's really cool. I know that, the food, that wins over anyone's hearts when they're on deployment. I was struggling with the food over there. I came back and I was like, all right, where's my Red Robin? I need food.
And to be clear, DLA does procurement of the food. They rely on the services to contract for preparation. So that's where they draw the line.
Oh, yes.
They are the providers.
Oh, yes.
So gotta make sure I clear that one up so nobody yells at me or anything.
Yeah.
The deployment thing's interesting though, right? I'm sure, you probably saw this on your deployment, but you have a chance to, maybe even focus on yourself, right? And your personal goals. So sure, you're working a lot,
right?
But to have the opportunity to spend a little bit more time in the gym or a little bit more time in the books, I thought that was pretty cool too.
Oh, yes.
How about you guys?
For me, I wasn't too much into working out when I was deployed, and I always regret that because my roommate was, and the transformation that I saw from when we first got there to when it was time for him to leave, I was like, I can't believe I just wasted it. Well, it was 7.5 months for me because that was 2020 when COVID first hit, so we all got extended because halted travel, nobody was going anywhere, unless it was absolutely necessary. So, but yes, absolutely, you do get a chance to focus in on yourself, and then one thing that always stuck to me that leaders has told me in the military is, the place is going to be the place. That's not necessarily the biggest deal. It's the people that's inside of it that you're serving with. And it's always either going to make or break where you're at. So fortunately, so far, it's essentially made it because I don't think I've really had any bad times with bad people. So absolutely, definitely get to focus in on yourself and you get to hone in on your team. And, you're all embracing it together. So that's what I love about it.
That's right.
it was really cool because I got to see like how different TMO people worked different cargo, and so it was really cool because I had just deployed from Elmendorf, Alaska, and I was so used to doing the process one way, and then when I got there, they were like, "Wait, did you know you could do it this way?" And then when I came back, I was like, "Guys, I have a plan. This is gonna make life so much easier for us," because it's like everyone does things differently. So I've brought things from all of my experiences to different bases to make processes easier. I mean, every place does it differently, so it was really cool because I was the similar way with the working out. I was like your roommate where I went there, I came with a goal. I was like, working out, we're gonna get the job done. I was like, it's gonna be great. And so it was a really cool experience, that deployment. It was my very first one, and the people made it amazing. They kept me influenced to keep going to the gym every day. So it was pretty cool.
Absolutely does. So you spent some time overseas, spent some time deployed, and then you've also had an assignment where you was at Tyndall. So if I'm not mistaken, I believe that time was after the hurricane. We spoke a little bit about it, about like the recovery process after that storm. Can you tell us a little bit about the challenges and the experiences that you had while you was at Tyndall and after the hurricane from, I believe, 2018?
Yeah, sure. So it was right before this assignment. It was my first LRS command. You know, really great job, great unit, all the things. Loved being there. But what I'll tell you, like, you know, I think I alluded to it at the beginning, but I grew up in Northwest Florida, about 2 hours from Tyndall, over by Eglin. And I had never really had much of a reason to go any further east than Panama City Beach. And a lot of people associate Panama City with Tyndall, but it's actually about, I don't know, 35 to 40 minutes further east. And, you know, kind of out there a little bit. And so I'd never been there before. And I remember driving from my parents' house. We were on leave, doing some leave en route, over to Tyndall for the first time. And it looked like a bomb had gone off, right? And this was 2023. So it was 5 years after Hurricane Michael that went through there in October of 2018. And you see all these trees that are just like, you know, I call them trees, but they're like toothpicks sticking up out of the ground still, you know, missing foliage. And then you get onto the base, right? And at least in 2023, we were in tents and trailers. You don't see too many hardened facilities. TMO and supply, right? They were 6 tents. We call them Sprungs. That's the company that makes them. But they were like 6 clamshells lined up in what we called Sprung City. And we had racks in there, right? And the team got the mission done and like didn't complain about it or anything. But to see the condition of the base and the pace of Milcon, right? They are getting after it. As I was leaving, you know, earlier in 2025, we were finally starting to see a few of the buildings. We got the Child Development Center opened up, and I had both my boys in there, and it was a great facility. The wing headquarters building had opened up. The LRS complex was like immaculate. A little bit sad I never got a chance to see it.
I know.
You know, but I know the team will love it. I'm not sure if they're into it or not yet. They probably will be soon. But the buildings that they were creating certainly made you feel like you were at the base of the future,
Really cool.
which is kind of the plan for Tyndall. So, you know, watching our airmen, watching our team kind of overcome those like non-standard facilities that they were in, or, you know, as they were doing construction work and the path to the flight line was constantly changing for our R11s, and like, you know, sitting in those working groups or having our DO, you know, go sit in those working groups to solve problems that you would never have to solve, you know, at a base that's just steady state, right? Like, I don't know if this is true or not. I've never been to Langley, but I'm assuming that like the way that their R11s get from their refueler yard to the flight line, it's probably the same that it has been for the last, I don't know, 40 years. And it was changing like every 4 weeks at Tyndall, with lots of negotiation, you know, and lots of just like making it happen. And so it was really cool to be a part of that team there too.
I'd imagine that.
And we bed down the F-35
Oh, okay.
when I was
gosh.
there. So changing mission on top of all that, they had the F-22s there when Hurricane Michael hit.
Yeah.
They went over temporarily to Eglin
Right.
because they just weren't able to sustain them there at the time. And when I initially got there in 2023, we were still supporting the F-22 mission that was over at Eglin.
Right.
Eventually, they got dispersed up to Langley and then up to Alaska, which from a logistics perspective is super interesting because there's a lot of equipment that has to go to that a lot of people probably don't think about. They just think about the iron.
Right.
Yeah.
And maintaining accountability of equipment that was sitting at Eglin while the accounts sat on Tyndall, and then they were going to two separate locations was like a beast of a problem. But you know, team solved it, and then shortly thereafter, we bed down the F-35, which was really cool to see first aircraft arrival there at Tyndall. There's ceremonies and people get excited about it, right?
Cool.
And I'm hoping that we get to experience something similar here, right, when the EX finally gets here.
Yes,
you know,
cool.
it's going to be a great place to be. And then not to mention just like the freaking combat capability that thing brings into the first island chain.
Right.
Cool.
It would be another really cool mission to support.
That's awesome.
I feel like your discipline definitely was you got to show that discipline. If something's are changing every 4 weeks, I know I like to get into a routine, and I like to know what's going to happen. It's changing every 4 weeks. I'm like, oh man, okay. So,
yes, the adaptability. You'd have to adapt really easily after that. But I'm sure when you came here, you were like, wow, it's a breeze. I got everything set up. Nice office now. Out of the tents.
The office is definitely different. That's for sure. I had an office in a trailer that was half the size of this stage that we're sitting on right now.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Not complaining, right? Like I had it good. I had air conditioning, and heat and cooling, and out there in the Sprungs, like it was hit or miss.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't imagine being in Florida without AC. You'd be sweating. That'd be crazy.
It's like being in TMO and Medina without AC, right?
Oh my gosh.
There's a couple
We've had
of
a few
times.
times.
Yeah. It's like, it's kind of chilly outside. Oh, the AC works. Oh, we're in the warehouse, no AC, and I'm like, it's okay. It's fine. It could be worse.
It was funny. We actually had that happen on our last exercise. We were in full mop gear, and we were all sweating so bad because the AC had turned down right at the worst possible time. So I was like, all right. I was like, we're getting tested today.
Yeah, that's right. Murphy's
it was an
Law.
experience.
Murphy's Law.
Yeah. Exactly.
Cool.
It was quite an experience. But wow, that seems like a really cool experience too. Being your first command also, like what a cool experience being able to go there. I mean, I'm sure it tested in multiple different ways, but I mean, that'd be really cool first command to be able to take over and be able to see all that change. I mean, how rewarding. That's really cool.
And one beach to another. Like, I'm not complaining about the location.
Oh yes, I'm sure. You got really lucky. I came from cold, -12 to really hot. So it was an adjustment for sure. But I'll take a beach. I like beaches. But also moving into now like being in the Indo-Pacific, what logistical challenges have you faced moving here versus all your prior assignments? I'm sure it's a much different outcome here being over in the Indo-Pacific.
Yeah, I think the one that people talk about, most often is tyranny of distance, right? Like we have the things that we have on this island that we live on, and it takes time to source things from elsewhere. We're, thousands of miles from Travis Air Force Base, where a lot of, parts and equipment flow through. And so sometimes we have to wait for a little while to get things. And that's why we talk a lot about our stockage levels in the warehouse. It's why we talk about additive manufacturing. It's why we talk about the health of our war reserve material that we have, like, the vehicles and equipment that we have postured here. In the event that the balloon goes up, it's because we have to have things here on this island. And we have to be prepared to, fight with what we have if we're asked. And so that's probably the biggest difference, right? Like when you're CONUS, it's pretty easy to get things within a day or two, right? My cap is sourced quick.
Very true.
It doesn't happen quite the same way here.
Very true.
And so it's cool to see some of the things that we're doing to get after, solving that problem. And I think the other main difference is, and this isn't to say that like, other missions don't have relevant requirements, but when you're sitting in the first island chain and you're as close as you are to as many of our national defense strategy priorities as we are, right? Russia, right there. Vladivostok is not too far away, less than 1,000 miles, I think. The Straits of Taiwan, right? And our pure adversary that we reference all the time in China. And then North Korea too, right?
Yes.
Like they're all right here. And that's 3 of the 5 priorities that are called out in the last National Defense Strategy. That means that our requirements matter. Like we're not just flying a training mission and, doing the OT&E thing, the organized, train, and equip. Like we are out here deterring on the daily. And that's why we fly the lines that we fly. It's the reason why our flight line in the middle of the day looks like an air show.
Yes.
It's because, we're out there projecting combat power for a reason. And so when those aircraft need a part, right, there's a little bit more urgency. Or when they need something, right, when they need fuel, whatever it is, there's a little bit more urgency behind it. And it's really easy to tie yourself to the why.
Yes.
Absolutely.
That's really cool. It definitely does look like an air show, I will say.
Yeah.
Every time I take my dogs out, one of my puppies, she's 10 months old now, and she freaks out because she'll hear it and she's like, what on earth is that? And then I look up and I'm like, yep, there's the planes again.
Yeah. That picture of the elephant walk, right, when they had all of the different platforms out there that's on the TV when you walk in the building. Like you got ISR platforms, mobility platforms, you got fighters, you got the rescue squadron with the HH-60s. Like it is crazy how much combat power that we have here on Kadena. I love the mission here. It's awesome.
It's really cool, especially from a logistical outcome too. It's like usually when we're just packing boxes and receiving, I'm like, you don't see what we support.
Yep.
And then it's like once I see pictures like that, I'm like, we're actually supporting those planes to get up in the air. Like it's actually really cool. Like you don't think very much of it, but then when you look at the bigger picture, you see what you're supporting. And logistics, I mean, without logistics, we wouldn't be an Air Force. Like nothing would move. It would be crazy.
That's right.
So
Absolutely.
it's really cool being able to see the outcome of what we do.
Yeah.
And the impact as well, because we talk about it and we see it from a logistical standpoint, but even I have a son who's 2 years old, going to be 3 and coming up this year. And then he's never been in the airplanes before too much, but now that we get these planes off the ground, get them to where they got to go, he sees them and he's like, airplane. So now when we walk through stores and stuff like that, he grabs airplanes because he wants airplanes. And I'm like, like maybe what we do, you never know really, but could inspire him to want to be a pilot one day or work on airplanes or something like that. You never know like where that inspiration will come from. So all the way from a logistical level to somebody who, like my son is 2 years old now, knows what an airplane is because they fly all the time.
And airplanes are cool, man.
It's cool.
It really is.
It is.
Yeah, they definitely are. They definitely are. So
it's really cool.
It's awesome once you think about it in a holistic view. So absolutely. So, sir, when it comes to these episodes, we typically love to field the questions. The point of Talk with the Top is to bridge the gap between leaders like yourself and then our fresh and even seasoned airmen and things like that. So one of the questions we always usually get on a recurring basis that people want to know is, as you stand here, Lieutenant Colonel Morris, today, if you could go back and give advice to Lieutenant Morris, what are some of those advice and what would those words look like if you could do that?
Yeah. That's a tough one. You're really forcing a reflection here, man. Like, what was Lieutenant Morris into at the time? It was shenanigans is the answer. I was at Spengdahlem. I put myself into those shoes and still learning kind of what it meant to be in the Air Force, even though I had been around it for a while, and still just didn't have all of the experiences that I have now. Right, I was the POL flight commander for almost the entire time that I was there.
Wow.
I'm not partial to POL, contrary to what I said during the Between the Two Trees conversation. I love all of our sections, equally. But what would I tell Lieutenant Morris? It's weird to even say. I feel like I'm closer to Lieutenant Morris right now than I am to, that 20-year mark or whatever. I still kind of associate myself with being that person. But I tell them, logistics is a team sport. Some of the things that we've already hit on, relationships matter. Be sure that, you're focusing on that stuff as much as you are the processes.
Right.
In our business, we become sometimes very caught up on the process. But there's a social side to the supply chain too. And picking up the phone and calling somebody, like that matters just as much as, adhering to the process. And, when you do that sometimes, or you want to call it the squeaky wheel principle or whatever, you get what you are looking for when you're doing that stuff for the right reason, right? To support the mission, to take care of a fellow airman, you can make a difference. So,
100%.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
Absolutely.
And another question, kind of looking a little bit back, digging a little bit
Yeah.
deep. So looking back at the last 15 years, is there any specific moment that, just kind of comes to you of like the most rewarding situation that's happened with all the experience you've had and just with past mentors? What's like the thing that sticks close to your heart of just, wow, that moment was so rewarding?
Yeah, anytime I've had a chance to help somebody else achieve what they were trying to achieve, I always take some time to reflect. Like, those are the significant moments. Those are the moments that matter. Whether it's approving a DEROS extension that maybe there was some uncertainty about, or giving somebody a second chance, right? Like, it's not lost on me that we have a lot of, power and influence, if you want to call it that, in the positions that we sit in, and, make decisions that affect people's life. And they have second and third order effects on families and everything. And so when you have an opportunity to help somebody, like I remember those opportunities the most out of anything.
I could see that. That is super rewarding, being able to see like I actually helped that person. Like it's really cool to see like that stress relief from them after you help them. It's really cool.
There's no better feeling in the world than giving somebody a second chance when everybody else is out there saying you should crucify somebody, they're done, they don't belong in the Air Force, and then you watch them blossom. And you like, look, I told you, look at them now. Like that is pretty inspirational moment, right? Makes you love what you do.
That's really cool. That's awesome. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. So we got to know, out of all of your assignments so far, do you happen to have a favorite or one that sticks out the most?
This one, right? That's what I'm supposed to say.
I was going for
Feel like
Kadena. I've only ever been to two bases, Grand Forks, North Dakota, and that one, it was challenging because it is cold. She wants to say -12. The coldest I've ever felt it in North Dakota was -55 with a wind chill, and I was like, "Sheesh." So I could easily say this has been my favorite assignment so far. But somebody with multiple different experiences, multiple different commands, teams, we had to know, like, what is your favorite assignment so far? And usually, if I ever ask a question like this, I hear different answers because there's like, oh, well, my child was born, or I met my wife or husband at this base, so I'd have to say that one was my favorite.
Sure.
So yeah, I wasn't sure if it was
appreciate
similar
you
to you.
teeing that one up for me.
See?
Shauna, like, you know where I'm going with this. I know Shauna will end up watching this, but I was at Columbus for my first assignment. I learned how to study there. That was one of the unique things I took away from pilot training is like, man, they get in the books for the first 6 weeks.
Oh, yes.
And I really had like that educational epiphany on what it means to really learn something and know it like the back of your hand.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I had ever really done that before, but I was also 45 minutes from Tuscaloosa.
Right.
And as an Alabama fan, that's the perfect place to be for football and basketball season. So that was great. Spangdahlem was awesome. Loved to travel. Good mission. Taking the 480th all over Europe as a logistician. DLA, we talked that one already.
Yes, sir.
We didn't really talk about my time up at Andrews,
Yeah.
in the aerial port squadron.
Yeah.
But we had a sick mission up there too. All of the blue and white aircraft, to include Air Force One, Air Force Two, if you want to call it that. In the aerial port squadron, we were doing all of the Paxton cargo mission for all of those aircraft, and so it was nothing to see. Like, actually, we had to go out for every single POTUS departure.
Right.
We had to be on the flight line. I had to be on the flight line as the DO in the expediter truck with the maintainers from the Presidential Airlift Group.
Pressure.
Like, making sure things went right.
Pressure
gosh,
right there.
yes.
It was going to be on TV.
Yeah.
Oh no.
You know, off to the right-hand side, you had like Fox, CNN, CBS,
Wow.
etc.
This
Right?
ain't messing up on my watch.
They're out there, and like
Oh my
there's our
gosh.
staircase truck with the red carpet that's immaculate. Like
Right.
they vacuum that thing and wax it all the time.
Oh my god.
Shout out to our port dogs, especially the ones there at Andrews. I see you.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it was a really cool job there. Went back to Ramstein, got to travel around Europe more.
Right.
This time with Shauna.
Right.
That's so cool.
And you know, didn't have to bite my tongue anymore on all the traveling experiences that I had when I was at Spengdahlem.
Right.
We had Brixton, our oldest, when we were there, right as COVID was hitting, which was different or whatever. Then we went to DC for a quick year, and then we did the back-to-back commands. And the nice thing about Tyndall, you know, even though Hurricane Michael had been through there and they were still recovering, it was 2 hours from family.
Right.
And so to have a chance for our two little boys to spend time with my parents that were over around Eglin, and then with Shauna's parents, who were down in South Florida, was perfect. And then, like, dude, you can't beat Okinawa. All the things that I heard before I got here are so true.
Yes.
The mission's amazing. Our team's great. We have so much talent in our squadron. It's cool. And then, like, man, the culture and the local nationals are just so welcoming.
Yes.
There's plenty of things to do. You don't even have to leave the island
Right.
to find things to do. But when it is time to leave the island and go travel, like, there's even more stuff to see.
Right.
So I can't choose, man. So that's why I'm going with this
Amazing.
one. Going with this one. I'm being where my feet are.
Right.
Taking my own
Absolutely.
advice.
Yep. I love
This
that.
assignment is it's a good one.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. I love that.
That's really cool. I mean,
Yeah.
Kadena is a dream. I never thought in a million years I'd be able to get Japan, because everyone wants Japan.
Yeah.
It's like one of the biggest wanted bases. And then I found out when I was on my last deployment, I was like, oh my gosh, we're going to like a warm place. That's amazing. And all the pictures and everything, like our local nationals, all of our MLCs are so beyond kind.
Yes.
Like, I was like, I'm gonna go back to the States and want to come back, because I'm gonna be like, everyone's so nice here. They have food.
Yes, they
they
are.
just give you a plate. Like, they're like, here you go. I brought food for everyone. Like, it's so different. It's amazing. I love the culture. It's really cool.
It's a great place to be.
And you came from Alaska, so ain't there like a time period where like there's only like 2 hours of sunlight a day or something like that? Yeah, I don't want to.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would like go to work and like the sun would be up for like maybe an hour for my lunch, and then as soon as I would leave, it would be dark. It was so sad. I was like, I had a little happy light on my desk and I would turn it on, and I was like, everyone be happy. Like, we have to, you know, brighten the mood.
Yep.
But yeah, you needed that in Alaska. But I mean, it was such a great experience. I would never take away those 3 years. It was really cool. And then, I mean, coming here, being in the Pacific too, is really, really cool. Definitely different. Very much larger here, I would say. It's a
100%.
huge LRS, so it's really cool. I'm sure it's fun for you.
856 authorizations. I was
Holy
just looking
cow.
at it the other day. That's massive.
Goodness.
And
huge.
you know, we rely on our MLC teammates here,
Yes.
right? Our
Absolutely.
local nationals.
Yes, we do.
They make up a good portion of that. So
They do, and they work so hard.
Yeah.
It puts me in awe. I'm like, wow, they're amazing. And of
Heck yeah.
course, here it's so crazy, especially with the mission. It's insane, so busy. But I like busy. It makes the day go by a little bit quicker.
Yes, it does.
Alrighty, welcome back. Some technical difficulties, ran out of storage, so worked that out, and we're going to continue with the Talk of the Top podcast. My previous question was, what piece of mentorship, sir, do you hold closest to your heart from someone that has given you mentorship in the past?
First of all, like, I needed the mental break, so I appreciate that, whether it was planned or unplanned. You know, nothing I hate more than talking about myself, and so it was great to have an opportunity to take a deep breath. But you know, what piece of mentorship have I received that is stuck with me? Another really deep question, thoughtful. I appreciate it. You know, and it's not about me either. Our command chief, the first one that was there at Tyndall with us, was Chief Sharp, and he used to tell this story in a way better way than I could. But he'd wrap it up with kind of the Jordan logo, right?
Oh, okay.
And to him, the Jordan logo, he had a bunch of J's, right? He always had like the best pair of sneakers on or whatever. But to him, it represented like, the hand that's up with the ball is like striving for things, but the hand that's back behind him, right? Because he's got like the scissor legs and everything, he's reaching back, is the hand that's reaching to drag others along. And that like has always stuck with me. And I think it's a good reminder to like hold the door for somebody else. No matter what position that you're in, you probably know something that could benefit somebody else, or you have the authorities to open up a door, right? Or to drag somebody through a door that you just went through yourself. So, just thinking about the Jordan logo, which is easy. Like, love basketball. Love Michael Jordan. We can debate Jordan and LeBron if you want to get into that, but we might need another hour.
We'll need a little time.
There will be no convincing me. I grew up in the 90s.
Absolutely,
But I don't know if that's. I've gotten so much great advice over my career, and I've had so many mentors that have held the door for me. It makes me think about that story and that Jordan logo.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Easy to remember, like you said. Very easy.
Good question
That's
too.
awesome.
Good question.
Awesome. Well, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Definitely speaking of the Jordan logo, like there's definitely parts that like I feel like I just related to that because you're our commander, so you are kind of up here with the ball. So when you're talking about bringing the hand down and bringing up others with you, it's kind of leading into the next question that we was going to talk about. As far as advice that you could give our young officers or young airmen becoming NCOs and the NCOs trying to get into that senior NCO tier, what's some advice that you could give to all of us to where that could help us become stronger in whichever rank that we're in at the moment?
Yeah, good question. I wrote down 3. Okay. I was prepared for this question.
Love it.
No worries there. I found myself like making lists of 30 though. There's so much advice. I love sharing. I love mentoring. But the 3 that I wrote down that at least in that moment, right, I thought were the most important were, if you want a chance to be successful, you got to quit worrying about everyone else and control what you can control. And I heard a speech, I think it was Nick Saban, roll tide again. He was talking about Usain Bolt, and they were talking about the Olympics, right? Usain Bolt, fastest man alive. I think he used to be. I'm not sure if he is anymore. I think he just got passed up.
For me, it is.
But me too, right? Like we all remember Usain Bolt. We remember him dominating the Olympics. But when they asked him, like, hey, how do you train for these races knowing that you're going to be, up against all these fierce competitors from around the world running in the Olympics? He said, I don't even know who else is in the race. I train, I focus, and I prepare to run my best race. So when you can just eliminate the noise, right, control what you can control, and focus on yourself, it goes a long way. So that's point number 1. Point number 2, don't be addicted to tomorrow, right? It's the culture of I'll quit smoking tomorrow, I'll take that class tomorrow, I'll lose weight tomorrow, right? But when you make it happen today, that's the way that you make a difference, and that's the way that you improve. It's the way that you create value for yourself, for the organization that you're in, and continually seeking that improvement and not waiting. It matters. Then the third piece is like probably the simplest of the 3. It's just work hard and be nice. That goes a long way, right? Our business is a team sport, and when you attract other people by being nice, right, and working hard, hard workers, high achievers are attracted to other high achievers. You have a more of a chance, right, to, I guess, solve problems. It's easier to work with somebody that you like than it's to work with somebody that you don't like.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Work hard, be nice.
Work hard, be nice. I love that.
Cool.
Wow, that's really awesome. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
I definitely hold those close to my heart because controlling things and just not controlling, like just being careful of just controlling the things that you can control, because I know I'm a big control freak, I'm a big control freak, so when it comes to that, I'm like, okay, everything has to be perfect, but I've had to learn, like, I mean, in the Air Force, there's going to be things that are going to fail, and you just have to be okay, sit back. If it fails, it fails. You can only control what you can, so I definitely hold that one really close for sure. That's one I will definitely remember for a long time.
I thought you would have said the nice thing. Since she's been here, I can't recall a time where I'm like, oh, you're having an off day today. And like never. I'm just like, she's always nice, very bubbly. I'm just like, you used to cheer, didn't you? Like you had to be a cheerleader or something like that, right?
Sure did.
So like, but yeah, I was like, I figured you would have related with the work and be nice thing, because at a point in time, she's processed like 50% of our cargo, hazardous and stuff like that, and just never seen her be mean to literally anybody. And I'm just like, that's cool. That's what's up. Helps brighten my day some. So
Dude, energy attracts energy.
Yep.
Like let's go. Let's go.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I try to come in because I'm like I said, I mean, some people get burnt out in the Air Force. I mean, if they've been in for a long time, you get burnt out, and then it's like that really shows on your mood. And I'm just like, all right, I know I've been in for only 4 years, so I'm hoping I can keep this up. But I'm like, just come in with a smile every day.
Every morning. Good morning. And I'm just like, Emery's here.
I try. Alrighty, sir. And sadly, bringing us to our final question of the day. This one was a really big question that I was excited to ask. As far as like when you PCS and you start to exit the military, what is the biggest legacy that you would like to leave behind for everyone to remember you by?
Yeah. So, when I think about, legacy, I can't help but think about the difference between like maybe kind of like your record, right? Or your records in our business, right? The awards that you won, the stratifications, all that stuff. And then the legacy, right? The record is kind of all that stuff I just talked about, but your legacy is more, how you do it, right? It's how you go about conducting yourself. It's how you accomplish those goals. I think my legacy that I want, it's simple. I want my legacy to be one where people remember me as somebody that helped other people along and helped them, achieve their goals. Provided for them the things that they needed to be more successful in life. If I can do that for at least more people, than I didn't, I'll call it a win. So just a legacy of servant leadership, of service. I don't do it for me. Like I just love being part of a team, and I love having the opportunity to serve others. And so hopefully that's the legacy that I leave behind. This assignment and in the Air Force. I've got a couple left in me after this, I think. I love what I do, so
that's awesome.
Plan to keep going.
That's
plan
awesome.
to keep going.
Hey, it shows. I mean, 15 years and you're still, that legacy, it's already begun. I look up to you being a senior airman, I definitely look up to you as a commander. You're definitely one of the best that I've had. And I've had a few different commanders and they're all amazing, but you've definitely been one to look up to. So we really appreciate what you do for us, sir.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, with that sadly being our last question, we just want to give a huge shout out to all of our listeners for tuning in on all of our previous episodes, and of course this amazing episode with our squadron commander. Sir, another big shout out to you. Thank you so much for joining us today. It was such an honor to be able to sit down with you and just get to know you on a little bit of a deeper level. We really appreciate you coming out.
Yeah, no doubt. And again, job well done. I'm so fired up that you guys are doing this. Keep it going.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
I can't wait to see future episodes.
Yeah, me too.
Yes.
Excited.
Cool. Oh my gosh, you know the High School Musical where they go do that? That would make you funny.
You ready?
We're going to do it at the same time.
We're going. Ready? I
love it. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. It made you laugh though, did it?
Yeah, geez.